Good morning, everybody. Mary Rondenet, the owner of Blooming Rose Healing and the founder of WhaleBreathing. And today I was really, I kind of stumbled across this thought about our brain. I think I've been thinking a lot about my mom, who actually was a very, she ate well. She was always pretty active for the most part. And and you listen to all these studies about how to prevent Alzheimer's. And it's a lot about, one of the things that is true about today is our technology. And when you think about technology and how the world is so easily able to just ask Google or AI or whatever is coming up in the world versus the research using and stimulating our brain. And also it talks a lot about, exercising, especially as we're aging and moving and keeping things, keep everything going. But I find it really fascinating, too, that you don't hear, how much breath work is part of this, too. And not the breath work, it's the breath work of just being and able to reflect on our body and what's going on within without the doing. And there's that ebb and flow of balance. And as we do diaphragmatic breathing, conscious breathing, which I call WhaleBreathing, we're allowing ourselves to bring more oxygen within the body and the brain. And that brain needs 20% more than all the rest of our organs. That's a lot of more oxygen. And one of the things that I do, it comes from the philosophy of Rudolf Steiner, but it's an exercise I do at night before I go to sleep with breath work. And I wanted to share it because it's a very good way of helping the memory, helping the cognitive essence of our brain and using that muscle, because just like our muscles and working out and movement, we got to do it also within the body. The organs need movement too, which is also why diaphragmatic breathing is so important. And when I do a lot of breath assessments, I see a lot of people breathing more from shallow or upper breathing, which is where they're overusing the lungs and not using their diaphragm really much at all. Obviously the diaphragm's moving. I don't want to say it's not moving at all, because the diaphragm is a muscle that it's like the heart. It has that, I'm sorry, I'm not a medical person, but it has that aspect that's going to keep it moving, because the diaphragm is what brings oxygen in and releases the metabolic waste. But because we do shallow breathing, we're not allowing that connection of the diaphragm, so it's not moving as much as it should be moving. Does that make sense? So what I do for my memory part of myself is when I go to sleep at night, I breathe, I get connected to the diaphragm, and I first just let myself really consciously connect and even visualize how it moves. And for those that don't know how it looks, it's like a dome. And when we're breathing, that dome kind of flattens when you inhale, and when you exhale, it goes back into the dome shape. And what's really beautiful about that is the exhale is kind of the rest. You don't have to do anything except just let go. Such a nice feeling. So with that being said, I let myself really get into now the rhythm, which is a circular rhythm. Medium inhale, soft, short exhale. And before you complete your exhale, you inhale. So it's a very beautiful, circular, loving rhythm. And then, once I'm in that space, I think about my day from that moment when I put myself to bed and I go backward. And I think about what I did. It's like I do an inventory of my day and allowing my brain to be stimulated into what I did for the day. And if I get to a place, because sometimes you'll get to a place, I forgot what I did. And it also helps you to kind of notice how you feel through those, through that day. Like what got triggered, maybe something emotionally, something you saw on Facebook, something that happened at work, something, and allowing yourself to breathe with that and really just let yourself reflect on what really got triggered there, what was really happening there. And allowing the body to kind of process it from the pace of being in bed, just taking that time and doing that inventory. And you take that all the way to the beginning of when you woke up. And what that does is helps the brain, well, one, to remember, to get into the cognitive essence of the brain and exercising that brain. And it also helps you to kind of do an emotional inventory because we do get triggered all day. And sometimes we're just too busy to really let ourselves sit with that heart-centered trigger. And while you're breathing, to give the heart a chance to have a moment as well. And so now, and you're allowing yourself to really just be present in the now of the reflection of what happened through that day. And allowing yourself to really have that opportunity to just breathe, give that brain more oxygen as you're breathing, and really being conscious of how is my diaphragm moving, how engaged am I with it, and how engaged am I with what happened out throughout the day. And then once I'm finished, I kind of allow myself to open myself to the aspect of, as I call, like, where did I allow grace in? And just really checking in with the spiritual aspect of who I am and how I walk through that day. Because it's a very interesting exercise versus my will versus thy will. And because there's a lot of fear and a lot of judgment coming, I think, at all of us, to give you the opportunity to just step back and reflect and breathe and really ask yourself, is that my belief? Is that my judgment? Is that how I really see the world versus stuck in some kind of belief or collective belief? And how do I allow thy will in? Because living life on life's terms is a very powerful place to be, and it's also a lot about surrendering to the breath, because the breath is bringing the Holy Spirit or the higher vibrational energies, whatever you choose to call it, it is what brings into our body that essence, that more beyond ourselves energy. But we have to surrender and allow it in. And we have to do it from a place of consciousness. So it's a really beautiful exercise to do at night, and just kind of like allow yourself some time with you, maybe with your higher self or God or whatever, or Jesus, whatever represents best for your heart to be. And it's also giving you the opportunity to give that brain more oxygen and allowing it, to reboot for tomorrow, the next day. So I hope this helps you, and really trying to just get people to really think about that breath and it's not just, it is about breathing, but it's how do I breathe and how do I really let myself surrender to the deeper meaning of what it means to breathe deeply and allow energy and motion is emotion to move. Because it's not just a movement on the external part of our body. We have a soul, and that soul needs also movement. And we have to engage into it to allow it to move these old energies and bring in the new. And in that, it connects us more to the spiritual aspect of who we truly are. It's a bridge. It's a bridge for body and body and spirit. But it's an important piece. It's that heart center of who we are. And it's not always an easy place to go. So it's always nice to have a person, like holding the space, facilitating and teaching someone how to breathe and to go through those aspects. I hear all the time from clients, I had this really hard moment, but I heard your voice right away. Energy and motion is emotion. And I allowed myself to just flow with it and not judge it. It made me feel so good. Anyway, I'm teaching on Monday night at Gathering Lighthouse. I hope if you're wanting to explore a little deeper this breath work, come join us. I will be there at 7 p.m. with John. I don't know, actually I have to find out. John might be on vacation, but hopefully John, and I will put that post out once I know for sure. But I will be there. And I hope everyone has a wonderful week. And thanks for stopping by. Take care. Bye-bye.